In Buddhism, true wealth is not found in material abundance alone, but in the harmony of the mind, body, and spirit. Like the Dhamma, which provides the path to liberation, the wisdom of the Buddha offers practical guidance to rise from scarcity and create a meaningful life. Wealth in Buddhism is not inherently wrong. What matters is how we acquire it and how we use it. The middle way teaches us balance, avoiding extremes of greed or neglect while embracing mindfulness, diligence, and compassion. Many individuals start their lives in humble circumstances, but the Buddha taught that through right effort, right mindfulness, and right action, we can transform our lives. Transform your mindset. In Buddhism, the mind is the architect of all experiences, shaping our reality through thoughts and perceptions. The Buddha teaches in the Dhammapada, "What you think, you become." This profound truth reminds us that our outer circumstances are deeply influenced by our inner world. If the mind is clouded by thoughts of scarcity, limitations, or self-doubt, these patterns solidify, reinforcing cycles of lack and dissatisfaction. Scarcity becomes not just a condition, but a state of being, one that obscures the opportunities and potential surrounding us. However, when we transform our mindset and root our consciousness in gratitude, intention, and right view, the world begins to shift. Gratitude brings clarity, allowing us to see the resources we already possess, no matter how small. Intention focuses our energy, guiding us toward meaningful actions and decisions. Right view, the understanding of life's impermanence and interconnectedness, frees us from attachment to wealth as a source of lasting happiness. Instead, we begin to see wealth as it truly is, a tool, not an end in itself. From this awakened perspective, money becomes an instrument to benefit others, uplift communities, and fulfill one's higher purpose in life. The pursuit of wealth is no longer driven by greed or craving, but by a mindful recognition of its potential for good. Just as a skilled gardener plants seeds in fertile soil, a mind grounded in wisdom and compassion nurtures abundance, abundance that flows not only to oneself, but outward to those in need. The shift in consciousness is the first step on this path. It is a move away from seeing wealth as something unattainable or inherently corrupt, toward recognizing it as energy, neutral by nature but powerful in its application. When wealth is approached with this understanding, it no longer becomes a source of suffering or attachment, but a means to cultivate generosity, create opportunity, and contribute to the well-being of all sentient beings. The Buddha's wisdom invites us to reflect deeply. Do we see ourselves as limited or capable? Do we approach life with fear or trust? Are we clinging to lack or opening our hearts to possibility? By transforming our mindset, we break free from the invisible chains of scarcity and step into a life of potential, purpose, and peace. As the Buddha said, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. When we cultivate thoughts of abundance, gratitude, and intention, our actions naturally align with these truths, creating a reality that reflects our highest aspirations. Wealth, when seen through this lens, is not a burden but a blessing, one that empowers us to live mindfully, act compassionately, and serve the greater good. The principle of right livelihood. In the Noble Eightfold Path, the Buddha teaches right livelihood as a cornerstone of ethical living. Right livelihood calls us to earn a living in a way that is honest, mindful, and free from harm to others or the world. It challenges us to reflect deeply on how our work impacts not only ourselves, but also the greater web of life. True prosperity, in Buddhism, is not measured merely by financial gain, but by the harmony created when one's livelihood aligns with integrity, compassion, and purpose. Wealth that arises from deceit, harm, or exploitation may bring temporary comfort, but ultimately creates suffering, both for the individual and for others. Such wealth is unstable, bound to bring unrest to the mind and obstacles to spiritual growth. On the other hand, prosperity grounded in service, value creation, and honesty becomes a source of fulfillment. Whether one begins with nothing or with great resources, the path to lasting wealth begins with a commitment to work that reflects one's highest principles. Work that nurtures life rather than destroys it. work that brings benefit rather than harm, work that respects others' dignity, well-being, and the interconnected nature of all existence. No task is too small or humble when performed with right intention and care. Whether you are a teacher, a healer, an artisan, or a farmer, every effort becomes an offering, an opportunity to contribute to the well-being of others while honoring your own life's journey. In this way, the mundane becomes sacred, and livelihood becomes an extension of the Dhamma itself. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us that the pursuit of wealth is not in conflict with spiritual life when it is approached mindfully. By aligning work with right livelihood, you plant seeds of prosperity that grow not only in material abundance, but also in joy, peace, and purpose. In the words of the Buddha, the wise person earns a living that causes no harm, and finds peace in work that uplifts and supports life. When we commit to ethical work, wealth ceases to be a cause of suffering and instead becomes a tool for goodness, generosity, and liberation, not only for ourselves but for all beings. Mindful stewardship of resources. In Buddhism, we are reminded that everything we possess is impermanent. Wealth, possessions, and resources are not truly ours to keep. They are merely borrowed for the brief time we are here. The Buddha teaches that clinging to material things or seeking security through accumulation brings nothing but suffering. Like the parable of the mustard seed, which illustrates the universality of impermanence and loss, we come to understand that attachment leads to dissatisfaction, while mindful stewardship brings peace and balance. To practice mindful stewardship is to use resources wisely, responsibly, and with awareness. This begins with the understanding that what we have, no matter how little or great, carries the potential to either uplift or burden our lives. By cultivating mindfulness in how we acquire, use, and share our resources, we align ourselves with the path of right effort and right intention, ensuring that wealth serves rather than enslaves us. Simplification is key. The Buddha often spoke of the virtue of living simply, free from excess and waste. When we minimize unnecessary consumption and let go of the urge to accumulate for the sake of accumulation, we make space for what truly matters: inner peace, contentment, and the freedom to live with purpose. Minimize waste. Be mindful of what you consume, ensuring that nothing is squandered. Treat all resources, time, money, energy, and even the earth's offerings, as sacred. Live within your means. Recognize that true wealth lies not in having more, but in needing less. By spending mindfully and avoiding debt, we create a life of stability and clarity. Focus on what matters. Redirect your resources toward what nurtures the mind and heart. Acts of kindness, generosity, and spiritual growth. The path of mindful stewardship is not one of deprivation, but of balance. When we shift our perspective and see resources as tools to serve our well-being and the well-being of others, we transcend attachment and cultivate joy and simplicity. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us, to be content with little is to possess great treasure. In this way, our resources, when handled with care, mindfulness, and responsibility, become a source of freedom rather than suffering. They allow us to live with purpose, support others, and walk lightly through life, unburdened by attachment, diligence, and skillful effort. The Buddha taught that laziness leads to suffering, for when we neglect our duties and potential, we remain stagnant, unable to rise above life's challenges. In contrast, he who is diligent and mindful grows in wisdom, like a lotus rising above muddy water. Just as the lotus blooms with grace despite its murky surroundings, diligence allows us to rise above obstacles, transcend hardship, and bring forth our full potential. Diligence in Buddhism is not about endless struggle or mere busyness. It is skillful effort that is intentional, purposeful, and aligned with the Dhamma. It requires us to work with perseverance, to learn continuously, and to refine our approach so that our actions bring about meaningful results. True progress does not arise from working harder alone, but from working smarter, bringing mindfulness, awareness, and creativity to every task. The Buddha taught us to recognize that effort, when combined with wisdom, is a powerful force. Perseverance. Progress requires showing up consistently, even when results are slow or challenges arise. Like water carving through stone, steady effort yields transformation over time. Continuous learning. Diligence includes the willingness to learn, grow, and adapt. By sharpening our skills and deepening our understanding, we cultivate the ability to meet life's demands with intelligence and insight. Skillful contribution. Diligence is not self-centered effort. It is effort applied in service of others. When we use our skills to solve genuine problems and uplift those around us, our work becomes an offering of compassion and value. Every skill, no matter how humble, holds the potential to bring benefit. Whether you are mending tools, teaching wisdom, or creating art, your diligence becomes a path toward not only material progress but also spiritual growth. Effort that is rooted in mindfulness and right intention uplifts both the doer and the receiver. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us, just as the diligent farmer cultivates his field, the diligent person cultivates his life. With perseverance, mindfulness, and skillful action, we rise above difficulties, blossom into our potential, and bring light to the world around us. By embracing diligence as a way of life, we transform every effort into a step toward wisdom, purpose, and lasting fulfillment. Generosity creates abundance. One of the highest virtues in Buddhism is dana, the practice of generosity. Dana is the selfless giving of one's resources, time, energy, or compassion, not driven by expectation or attachment, but from the heart. It is a practice deeply rooted in the teachings of the Buddha, who often emphasize that true wealth arises not from accumulating for oneself, but from the ability to give without hesitation or fear. Generosity, according to Buddhist teachings, is not limited by the amount one possesses. It is not the size of the gift, but the spirit of giving that matters. Even when you have little, your ability to offer what you can plants the seeds of abundance. In fact, the act of giving, whether it's a kind word, a small offering, or a helping hand, creates a ripple effect that transcends material wealth. The Buddha said, "Happiness never decreases by being shared." This statement encapsulates the deep truth that generosity does not diminish the giver, but enriches them. When we give freely, we are not only benefiting others, but are also creating a cycle of goodwill that reflects back upon us. By helping others, we become part of a shared field of abundance, one where compassion and kindness flow freely, nourishing both the giver and the receiver. Generosity is not just about material gifts, but about giving of our time, our presence, and our heart. By offering help, support, or simply our attention, we contribute to the collective good. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, is a step towards spiritual fulfillment and inner peace. It strengthens the bonds of community, promotes harmony, and fosters a sense of interdependence. The act of giving also opens us to receiving blessings in return, not in the material sense alone, but in the form of spiritual growth, deeper relationships, and a greater sense of contentment. When we give with an open heart, we are rewarded with an abundance that goes beyond money or possessions. It is the abundance of love, joy, and peace that arises from living in alignment with the natural flow of life. Generosity in Buddhism is a reflection of the four Brahmaviharas: loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. Through dana, we cultivate these qualities, and in turn, we receive the fruits of spiritual wealth, contentment, peace, and a profound connection to all beings. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us, generosity is the seed of happiness and the foundation of peace. By practicing dana, we create a cycle of abundance that extends beyond material wealth to encompass the richness of spirit, connection, and love. Contentment and gratitude. In Buddhism, contentment is seen as one of the most profound paths to inner peace. The Buddha taught that wealth without contentment leads to suffering. For no matter how much we accumulate, the restless desire for more always lingers. When we are not content with what we have, no amount of material wealth can bring true happiness. The mind remains in a state of craving, always seeking, always wanting, and never at ease. However, the Buddha reminds us to find peace in what is, to cultivate a sense of satisfaction and acceptance with life as it is, rather than constantly yearning for things to be different. Contentment is not about resignation or stagnation, but about fully appreciating the present moment and honoring each step of progress on the path. It is an understanding that everything we need to live a fulfilled life is already within us. By embracing what is, we free ourselves from the cycle of dissatisfaction and discover the profound richness of the present. Gratitude is the key that unlocks this contentment. When we practice gratitude, we shift our focus from what is lacking to what is already abundant in our lives. A heart full of gratitude transforms even small victories into profound joy. The simple act of acknowledging and appreciating the blessings we already possess, whether it's the love of family, the beauty of nature, or the opportunity to learn and grow, opens the door to deeper happiness. Gratitude connects us to the present moment, dissolving feelings of longing and replacing them with peace. In Buddhism, contentment and gratitude go hand in hand. When we learn to appreciate life as it is, we begin to experience the world through a lens of abundance, not scarcity. Every moment becomes an opportunity to practice joy, to celebrate the beauty of being alive, and to recognize the preciousness of each experience. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us, "He who is content with little is richer than he who is much, but is never satisfied." By embracing contentment and gratitude, we discover that true wealth lies not in material possessions, but in the peace and joy that come from within. These qualities free us from the traps of comparison and desire, allowing us to live with a heart full of peace, purpose, and joy. Plan with wisdom, act with patience. In Buddhism, the path to prosperity is much like the process of farming. Just as a farmer carefully nurtures seeds over the course of many seasons, building lasting wealth and success requires patience, care, and an unwavering commitment to the long-term process. The fruits of our labor do not ripen overnight. They require time, effort, and the right conditions to grow. The Buddha taught that mindful planning and deliberate action are essential in creating lasting change and cultivating true prosperity, whether on the material or spiritual path. Building prosperity is not about rushing toward quick rewards or trying to control every aspect of the outcome. Instead, it is about setting a strong foundation, planting the right seeds of wisdom, intention, and right action, and trusting that the process will unfold in its own time. As with a garden, we must nurture our efforts with patience, tending to them regularly and with care. Even in moments of uncertainty or slow progress, the law of karma assures us that diligent, righteous actions yield results, but only if we remain steadfast in our pursuit, without rushing the natural course of things. Patience in Buddhism is not mere waiting but an active practice of cultivating a calm and steady mind, free from frustration or attachment to immediate outcomes. Through right effort, we continue working toward our goals, knowing that each action, no matter how small, is a part of a greater unfolding. Mindful investment, whether in resources, time, or energy, requires that we stay true to our intentions and remain focused on our purpose, rather than being distracted by fleeting desires or impulsive reactions. The Buddha's teachings remind us to diversify our efforts and not to place all our hopes in a single venture or idea. Just as a farmer might plant a variety of crops, we are encouraged to explore different paths, learn from diverse experiences, and trust that our efforts, when rooted in right intention and skill, will bear fruit in the fullness of time. The Buddha said, "The one who plants the seeds of right action and nourishes them with diligence and patience will reap a harvest of peace and fulfillment." Through mindful planning, careful action, and patience, we align ourselves with the natural flow of life and build a future grounded in stability, wisdom, and abundance, leaving a legacy of goodness. In Buddhism, true wealth is not defined by the accumulation of material possessions, but by the positive impact we leave behind. The Buddha taught that everything in life is impermanent, and thus, the pursuit of fleeting wealth or physical assets cannot offer lasting fulfillment. However, the goodness we create, the wisdom we impart, and the love we share extend beyond the transient nature of material things, shaping the world for generations to come. True wealth is measured by the legacy of kindness, wisdom, and compassion we cultivate throughout our lives. A legacy of goodness begins with the recognition that everything we do, say, and think ripples outward, affecting the world and the people around us. By sharing our knowledge, teaching others how to live mindfully, and embodying the qualities of compassion, we contribute to the well-being of others, ensuring that our impact lasts long after we are gone. It is not the things we accumulate for ourselves, but the way we serve and uplift others that determines the true value of our life. Teaching others the art of mindful living, how to find peace in the present moment, act with intention, and foster loving kindness, becomes a way to pass on a living legacy of peace and wisdom. The Buddha's wisdom teaches us that every moment is an opportunity to lead by example, to share our understanding, and to offer guidance that can transform the lives of those around us. Whether it's through personal actions, words of encouragement, or the willingness to serve others, we plant seeds of goodness that will grow for generations. Prosperity, in the Buddhist sense, is not limited to what we personally gain. It is about how we use our resources, our time, and our energy to benefit others and ensure that our actions create a ripple effect that continues far beyond our lifetime. We are reminded to be mindful of the legacy we leave in the world, one that aligns with the Dhamma, nurturing peace, wisdom, and compassion. By ensuring that our prosperity benefits not only our immediate loved ones, but also future generations, we contribute to a more harmonious and just world. The Buddha's teachings remind us that the most valuable things in life are intangible: love, compassion, and wisdom. A life well lived is one that leaves behind a legacy of goodness, nurturing the hearts of others and inspiring them to walk the path of righteousness. Through our actions, our words, and our intentions, we shape the world for the better and build a lasting foundation of goodness for all beings. By following the principles rooted in the Dhamma, we cultivate a life of meaning, abundance, and inner peace. The wisdom and practices taught by the Buddha guide us not toward the accumulation of fleeting wealth, but toward the cultivation of qualities that truly enrich our lives. Qualities like compassion, mindfulness, and right action. When we align our lives with these teachings, we create a foundation for true prosperity, one that is not just material, but emotional, spiritual, and relational. The wealth we build through mindful living, whether it's the abundance of love, the richness of relationships, or the deep peace of the mind, becomes a source of liberation not just for ourselves, but for all beings. As we grow in wisdom, we naturally share that wisdom with others, lifting those around us and contributing to a world of kindness and understanding. True wealth, in this sense, is measured by how we contribute to the well-being of others, creating a cycle of positive energy that ripples across time and space. When we align with the Dhamma, we realize that life's true purpose lies not in the accumulation of wealth, but in the liberation from suffering and the cultivation of compassion, peace, and joy for all beings. Our lives become a living testament to the Buddha's teachings, offering others the opportunity to walk the same path toward enlightenment, peace, and happiness. As the Buddha said, "May all beings be happy. May they live in safety and joy." This is the ultimate goal of our journey, creating a world where abundance flows freely, not in material form alone, but in the form of shared happiness, love, and understanding. Thank you for joining us on this journey of wisdom and compassion. If you found these teachings meaningful, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more insights on living a mindful and prosperous life. Don't forget to like, comment, and share so we can continue spreading the wisdom of the Buddha to those who need it most. May you be at peace, and may your path be filled with light.